I think, a couple years ago.
That's correct. He was.
All right. So, and I'm probably called the wrong title, but he was head, one of Tuku's head. So we've got JAMIL Davis in the.
Mr. Davis, how you doing, sir?
We've got JAMIL Davis in the
I'm
waiting
good,
room.
y'all. How about yourself?
We good.
Okay. Is it possible you can turn on your camera? Lima had this thing like she liked to see.
I like to see people. I love to see people.
Let me make sure I can.
Okay.
I'm in the car right now.
Okay.
So this what y'all gonna see for a while, but we good. How y'all doing?
I hope you're not driving. I hope you're not driving.
You pull to the side, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying. Put it that way.
No,
But no, like
pull to the side, man. I don't want you having any, and then they blame it on the people's chat room.
Nah, but y'all, we're good. How y'all doing today?
We're doing fine. We're doing fine. I felt that it was really important to reach out to you and ask you to return to the show. We're having some interruptions in the background, I think, with traffic, but we're going to do our best here. I felt it was really important to bring you back on the show in light of everything that's happening in, the vibe that's happening right now nationwide with, the Texas Democrats running to DC, in an attempt. They're showing more guts than our current. This is my opinion. Okay, you don't need to share it. They're showing more guts than our current lawmakers that are part of the Senate. Black voters matter is important. Please share with our listeners the importance of Black voters matter and Black voters understanding their importance.
So I feel like that we're important as an organization because a lot of the work that you are seeing in a lot of these states, such as Georgia and Texas, and of course the work here in Florida, Black Voters Matter is at the forefront of a lot of this work. We headed up a lot of the protests that were going on in Texas, and a lot of the demonstrations that were going on in Texas. And because of that, the Texas Democrats got some gumption, as I like to say, and took it upon themselves during their legislative session first to walk out of legislative session during the time period. We turning right here. Oh, we're going straight. Okay. They took it upon themselves to walk out during legislative session and not vote on that particular voter suppression bill.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Texas decided that they were going to have a special session just around that particular voter suppression bill,
Mm-hmm.
they were like, oh, okay, well, we all just going to get on the plane and we flying to Washington. And we're going to go meet with Joe Biden. And we're going to prevent you once again from being able to vote on this bill. We're now going to get to a point, and I actually was having this conversation with my mother just earlier before I got on this interview, and I was letting her know we're going to get to a point where it's some people it's going to be more people arrested than what has already happened before the summer is over with.
Okay, but here's my problem with that hypocrisy. Okay, let me be real. The Cubans marched this past week. They're still marching. They're blocking the roadways. I was heading home from work sometime last week, and they were blocking 436 or Cimarron Boulevard, which is a major thoroughfare through the middle of Orlando. Okay, it connects South Orlando to North Orlando. There are other secondary roads, but that's one of the main roads. They blocked it, and they had the police blocking off, and you know what I'm saying? Now, let's look at this bill, SB 4884, and the anti-protest bill, which is the anti-protest bill, okay, that DeSantis signed into law because he dictating everybody and everything around here in Florida. He signed that into law. The hypocrisy of that, a lot of those protesters in the Cuban-American march these past couple of days should have been arrested. But if it was a Black Lives Matter protest, they would have arrested everybody. They would have brought cars from wherever we didn't even know existed to arrest. Am I wrong or right?
You're absolutely correct. So let's speak on that. Let's speak on that particular situation as well. Most of the Cubans in question are your Cubans who don't look the same shade as myself and you.
They're white.
That reside down in Miami, and as we all know, most of the Miami Cubans
Are Republicans.
Republican.
Mm-hmm.
So why am I going to tell Miami police to arrest people who are essentially my voting base?
And you see, I mean, there's so many things, so many thoughts going through my mind that I want to get out. So they may come out helter-skelter. Please forgive me. But let's put that to the side just temporarily. Let's go into the Capitol this past week where they arrested a congresswoman.
Yes.
They arrested her the same day, the same time, and they were hovering like a mug to arrest this woman. Mm-hmm. But how much months after January 6th, they're still trying to find people? Nobody got arrested that day. They tore down, they shit, they pee, they do all kind of things. They wanted to kill Mike Pence and the other lawmakers. Nobody got arrested. Or they're still trying to, quote unquote, find people. But they arrested her that day. And that's the hypocrisy that they refuse to see. And you know something, JAMIL, I commend people like you because I'm tired, man. I am tired.
I understand. I definitely understand. In total, 9 people got arrested that day. One of the 9 people who did get arrested that day was actually co-founder and executive director for Black Voters Matter, LaTosha Brown.
Okay.
She's one of the 9 people who got arrested that day. And that's why for me, that particular piece is where I'm saying 95 South. That's why for me, that's the particular piece where I'm saying before it's all said and done, more people are going to get arrested.
More black and brown people.
More black and brown people are going to get arrested this year before the summer is over with, because of the fact that we are fiercely and viciously out here fighting for our voting rights. And not even so much because we believe that voting is the only thing that we need to do in order to get power as Black people, but that we all know and recognize that voting is one of the most essential tools that you can use to obtain power, not only just on the federal level, but also on the state and local level. Because if it wasn't, then why would they be fighting so hard to take away the little bit of freedoms that we have as far as the right to vote? And it's a right. Like it's a right that we're supposed to have as people in this country. So yeah, like and trust and believe here in the state of Florida, we not sleep. We're definitely not sleep, especially those of us who organize through Black Voters Matter. Shout out to Ariel Inavoy over in Tallahassee. Shout out to Jasmine Fernandez, who's our Central Florida regional organizer. You know, us all 3 of us, we literally just came from an awesome bus tour that Black Voters Matter as an organization just took a couple of weeks ago, actually across the South. We started in Jackson, Mississippi on Juneteenth, and we ended on the 26th of June in Washington, D.C. And this bus tour that we took was a celebration of the 60th anniversary of the original Freedom Rides that happened in 1961, that happened around bus segregation, lunch counter segregation, and of course voting rights. And so we took that initiative, revamped it for 2021, and we called it the Freedom Rides for Voting Rights. And those particular Freedom Rides, our 3 objectives was to demand Congress to pass HR 1, HR 4, and HR 51. HR 51 is the bill that would make Washington, D.C. the 51st state of the United States. If we pass all three of those bills and make those law, some things would change for Black people in this country as far as us being able to gain power, whether on the voting front or just through Black political power, period.
So this is what we're gonna do, Jamil. We're gonna take a short music break and we'll come back and talk a little bit more. So keep driving safely, but don't go nowhere. All right?
All right, I appreciate it.
Expert lad, say pick up the south and the east and the west, girl, them all me tongue and my sour friend, babe. Say anywhere you see me there, I will squad there with me, and anywhere we there, this woman in me favor, lad. And if you want find it, right by the girl there, woman in me favor, lad. Say if you want find it, right by the band there with me, I know they don't just up there, jamming on some. Police passing, I don't know what she thinking. Well, a lot of them people crazy. She take out she phone and calling. I don't know what she's saying. Gotta read them people mad.
Hey, Mr. Rowley, you might know me. Hope this fine is safe and healthy. Just need your ears momentary. Hope that you will listen to me.
Excuse me. What's going on across there?
Hey, Mr. Rowley, you might know me. Hope this fine is safe and healthy. Just need your ears momentary. Hope that you will listen to me. Mr. Hey, Mr. Rowley.
All right, Jamil. Jamil,
Still there, sir.
are you still there?
I hope he's still there.
Yes.
Yeah, he has us on mute. He have us on mute. He have us on mute. Yeah.
Jamil?
How you doing?
Y'all back?
We back. I was getting a little bit carried away there, and Code had to rein me back in with the music we were playing. So, do you think that there will be a possibility that DC will become the 51st state? Seriously, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being yes.
On a scale of 1 to 10, right now I'm going to say probably a 6 or a 7. And the reason I'm saying a 6 or a 7 is because since the rally that we had in DC on the 26th, there has been a lot of serious conversation around DC statehood and making DC the 51st state of the United States. And knowing and understanding that DC as a city, Washington D.C. as a city is a predominantly Black city. We know that that city would gain 2 senators and it would have 1 House rep, and because of that, it would put Democrats in a better position of getting a lot of this stuff passed.
Yeah.
Because we all know that it's going to end up being Black people that's going to be elected as senators in the U.S. Senate if we get DC to become a state.
And that will definitely muzzle Manchin, who I don't like, and Sinema, who I really don't like, because as far as I'm concerned, they are Republicans parading as Democrats, and they are not. Listen, I'm getting started and I don't want to go there. However, we really need DC to become the 51st state because we need more representation. I see the next year is the midterms, which is to me the most important election. How you think we're going to fare for the midterms? Do you think we're going to lose a whole lot of seats or just 1 or 2?
So we actually so through the census, through people doing the census like they were supposed to in this state, we actually gained a seat in Congress. However, the way that they probably would end up realigning the districts for that extra seat
To be Republican.
that seat probably might end up going to the Republican. They're actually going to restructure the districts in your area to where the district that Val Demings currently sits in right now is going to gain some more black area. Like from what I'm being told, Eatonville and all of that might move into that district. But because of that, the district that Stephanie Murphy currently sits in is going to lose all of the Black representation in her district. And so she may end up losing her seat.
So it's like you might win one, but you might lose the next. And this is why they need to stop gerrymandering, you know?
Exactly.
And that's why this bill, is it the John Lewis bill?
Yeah, the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act.
That's going to stop all of that.
That's HR 4.
Okay. So on the real, you think, okay, you because you are around a lot of these people. Do you really think that any one of those bills are going to pass?
If we can really, which we have been, if we can really, really extensively push people like we need to, I feel like both of those bills could seriously pass.
Okay.
And if we could really push for the Senate to completely eliminate the filibuster, then these bills could definitely pass. Because the moment you eliminate the filibuster, it no longer allows for it to be, oh, now we need 60 votes for us to even debate about these bills. So now it's just a simple majority. So
in a short, sweet, easy to understand way, can you explain to our listeners, really short, sweet, and easy to understand, what the filibuster is?
So the filibuster is an act that senators can use to pretty much block even debating on certain bills. And the only time that they use filibusters is anything that has to do with bills that will advance Black people or civil rights in this country. The filibuster is an old tactic that senators have been using since Jim Crow. It started in Jim Crow. And the only time that they use it is when we need to kill a bill that's going to advance Black people in this country. That's the only time they ever use a filibuster.
Okay, so the act of filibustering can simply mean you stand there and read a whole book for how many hours to wear people down, get them tired.
The filibuster has become so bad now that you can just send an email, and that's a filibuster.
Wow. Anyhow, we're gonna have some hope, and as long as we have people like you and the millions that are galvanizing like you, we can get this done. Before we leave, I need you to let our listeners know how they can join Black Voters Matter.
Oh, of course, absolutely. You can go on to blackvotersmatterfund.org. That's blackvotersmatterfund.org. and find out more information on how to volunteer with Black Voters Matter, and a lot of the other campaigns and initiatives that Black Voters Matter is current.
Okay, so that's
you can go to any of our social media, which is Instagram, Twitter, and that's Black Voters MTR.
Okay, so that's Matter without an S, right?
Black Voters Matter.
Okay.
yes.
Okay, Jamil, you're gonna return to the
website.
Okay, go ahead.
And the website is Black Voters Matter Fund FUND.org.
Got it. I wrote that down. So I will read it back before the end of the show, and I will also put it in the edit before we reshare. Listen, I want to encourage you to please come back to the show anytime, though. Don't just wait until I invite you, okay? Please.